Hey there, so in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to organize the grant writing process and the tools you need to do that. Let's get started. Hey everybody, this is Tiffany with Boss on a Budget. I help people start their nonprofits and raise money for their new nonprofits. If you need help with your nonprofit, you need to subscribe to this channel. I have a bunch of videos, but I also have resources. I have workbooks and toolboxes and things like that to help you navigate your startup journey. So in every video, make sure you check out the description box because I have a bunch of links available for you. And in today's video, I want to talk about the grant writing process and 5 pieces of that process, because just understand when you're applying for grants, it's like a pipeline that you go through. You don't just show up or pull up and write a grant and that's it. There's a way to organize that overall process. And so I'm going to break it down into 5 ways, but I'm also going to share some tools to help you in each of those steps of the process to help you get organized so you can start winning more grants. Now, if you need help understanding the grant writing process just overall, I do have a grants masterclass, and I go through from beginning to end what it takes to find grants and to apply for grants. And I also have a bunch of resources that are included in that masterclass, so make sure you check it out. The link is below. So the first part I want to talk about is how you're finding grants. Now, when I'm talking about the steps of the grant writing process in this video, I'm not necessarily talking about like the strategic ways, like how to think about what you do and the keywords you need to identify to find funders and how to build relationships with funders. I talk about strategy in other videos. This video is literally like how to do it. It's more tactical, right? It's more concrete in terms of like, this is the actual processes that it's going to take. So if you're looking for more of like strategy, I suggest other videos that I'm linking below. But the first step of doing this is actually finding the grants and what are the tools that you need to find them. Just want to let you know, if you are savvy enough or if you have enough time, then you can find grants for free and you never have to pay for a particular grant service. So if you're looking for grants, you don't have the money or the budget to find them, then there are strategies you can use to find grants. And I know people who are grant writers and people who've been doing this for a long time who have never paid for grant opportunities. And one of the best ways to find grants when you don't want to pay anything is just to look at similar organizations and to see who funds them. And also just to look in your local area, because there are always some kind of organizations, corporations that are funding work in the local area. And if you begin to track like who that is and see their connection to the community, you'll likely find by going through those trails that they give in the form of grants. And this could be directly from corporations, this could be government agencies, this could be through foundations. There are multiple options when it comes to finding grants. So I wanted to get that out the way. But if you don't have the time or you don't have the skill set to find grants or the patience, let's just talk about the patience, y'all, to be searching, then you can pay for tools to make that process quicker and easier for you. So I'm just going to share some of the most popular ones, and these are ones that I have some level of engagement with. I've used them at certain levels, right? Some more than others, but I'm going to call out a couple that you should know about. The Foundation Directory Online is like the OG, and it's the original gangsta. That's what I mean by OG. And it is like the directory of foundations all across the country, and they also include international foundations. And so you can find out information that's supplied in their 990 forms. That is their tax form that they submit to show what their activities were for the previous year and who they funded and what they funded and how much. That information is put into a database, and the Foundation Directory Online keeps that database of all that data. And you can use their tools to look and search and find funders that are aligned with the work that you do. So if you're looking for funders who do work in the animal welfare space or who do work in the domestic violence space, then you can search that and find them. And you can filter by different things like where they're located. So that is the OG. That is like the database of all the information that you could find about a foundation. And there are associated costs with that. And then there's also Instrumental, which pulls a lot of its information from the foundation directory. So that means that they get the source of their information is from that database, but they also have tools to make it easier and user-friendly for you. So Instrumental is a grant search database. You sign up for a monthly fee, and then you can search and you can filter. You can build projects in their system. You can track how you're applying. You can have people log in and see your progress. Instrumental is built for people who are deep into grants, who are serious about grants, who regularly apply for grants. And it's a good tool actually for grant writers because of its expense, you really have to be invested in the grant writing process, but it gives you so much flexibility in terms of looking across, like I'm working on this project, so this was my last search, and then I want to see my updated search and things like that, right? So if you're interested in Instrumental or Foundation Directory online, I'm putting the links to both of those below. And also, if you would like $50 off your first month of Instrumental, I'm including my coupon code below. Another grant search database you should be interested in is called GrantStation, and I have a lot of experience with GrantStation. GrantStation is very good for people who are super new, who may not be deep into the grant writing process yet, but they're still looking for grant opportunities for their nonprofit. And it's a reasonable enough cost that even if you buy it and don't necessarily use it every month, it's still very useful. And GrantStation tends to focus on opportunities that are unsolicited. Like funders are okay with you just applying to them. It's more of an open process. There are a lot of funders who do not take unsolicited requests. They will only request information from you, but GrantStation tends to not focus on those. They tend to not put those in their database, and they regularly update it to see what the process is for the funders. Now, Instrumental and Foundation Directory Online just includes all of them, right? Whether they take unsolicited requests or not. But GrantStation is especially for those who are really just trying to get traction and trying to find opportunities that are more likely for them to win. And they provide a great summary of information that you can use to get started. GrantStation is a reasonable cost. So if you are interested in using GrantStation, you can check the description box below. I'm also including a link. The last database that I'm going to share is called Flux. I have the least amount of experience with Flux, but I have heard good things about the use of it. And it also sources from the Foundation Directory Online, which is my understanding. So it's pulling from the source of information of foundations, but it compiles it or summarizes the information in a way that's easier to process, honestly. So Flux, I'm saying the least about, because again, I've seen it, I've been inside, and people have talked about its usefulness, but I don't have a lot of information about it. So I'm also including the link below so you can check it out for yourself. The second part of the grant writing process that you need help with is how to track your applications, how to track your progress throughout the application, and to track your wins. So you need some kind of system, especially if you are building momentum and you want to write grants on a regular basis. Side note, if you want to win more grants, then you need to write more. So you need to be tracking that and having goals around how much you want to write. I just had to throw that in there. But you need some kind of system so you're not like confused about, okay, what did I apply for and how much did I ask for? And do I have enough to cover this program? Am I asking for enough? You want to be organized about that process. So you do need tools to help keep you on track. So the first thing I'll say is I mentioned Instrumental in the last segment, and Instrumental does have built in to their system a way you can manage your project and a way people can log in to see where you are in the project. GrantStation has some of that capability in their system, and it's also my understanding that Flux has that capability. So I'll just say this. If you're looking for a way to track grants, you can actually do that with a service that helps you find grants as well. So that's one option for you. But what if you don't want all of your information in one place, right? Like what if you have to leave Instrumental or you decide not to use it anymore? So you could also track it externally, and I'm going to give you some options for tools that you can do that. Now, again, when I say tracking, I just mean, what grants do you want to pursue? When do you want to pursue them? How much are you asking for? And then some general information about the funder, like What does the funder typically fund? What's their average grant? What's their website? What's the description of what they do? Like, you need a way to capture that to make it easier on yourself during the process. So that's what I mean by tracking. So you can use regular project management tools, and you can build templates or build ways to use them to track the grant writing process. People do this all the time. So a couple of project management systems that I'm aware of, and some of them that I have used. The first one is ClickUp, which is by far my favorite project management tool. It's a tool that I use in my own business. If you would like to see ClickUp and use my affiliate code, the link is below. You can use it to track your project. You can also use tools like Asana and Trello and Notion, right? And I've been inside and used in some capacity all of those. And honestly, it just depends on your personality and how you like to use software, right? So you may like Trello better because Trello tends to be more graphical. Like, you can track things through like Post-its and boards, but ClickUp gives you a board view as well. So it just depends on what you like and what you respond best to, but I wanted to throw some of those out so you can understand that. And then you can also rely on Google Sheets or an Excel sheet. I'm saying Google Sheets because if you use Google Sheets, then multiple people can access the information, so you don't have to always send updated forms or updated sheets if you're only using Excel. But you could also just use Google Sheets and track it in the spreadsheet. And that's free 99. So I just wanted to throw a couple different options out there for you, but just also to remind you that you should be tracking like your pipeline of grant writing to keep you organized. The third part of the grant writing process you should be paying attention to, and you may need tools for, is how to organize your documents and where you're storing them. This one is going to be really quick, but I just want to throw out there that when you're writing grants, you're going to be writing the same things over and over again. So the first part of this is you want to have a sheet that you can pull from that you can just copy and paste, because almost every grant is going to ask for organizational background. They're going to ask for a statement on your mission, right? They're going to ask for certain statements that you're going to see over and over again. So you want to create a document that's stored somewhere that's easily accessible, that you can just pull the information from. I've talked about this a couple different ways. You can have what's called a master proposal, where it's all the typical things that you would be putting in a grant application or proposal that you can just pull from. Or you can have what's sometimes called a swipe file. Swipe file is just information you want to quickly swipe from or borrow. Swipe files are a little different because a lot of times people use things they find elsewhere as examples and they swipe from or they use. So swipe file is, has different context, but it's the same idea. You get it, right? You want a place where you can go to that's easy to find. You can just pull the information when you need to get it quickly. But the other side of this is every grant application has a different process, and they're going to ask for different things. And so you need a way to organize all the different files that you're going to need to submit. Sometimes for some grant applications, especially if it's a government application or a government proposal, you're going to have so many pieces of paperwork. You're going to have so many attachments, and you need a way to easily organize this within folders and have everything in one place. So my biggest suggestion for this is Google Drive, or if you're a Microsoft person, do OneDrive. But I'm a Google girl, so I use Google Drive to organize everything. But there are other systems out there to help you organize your files. Like, people do SharePoint, or people do like Basecamp. Or you can even use the project management systems that I had mentioned before, like a ClickUp or Asana, to organize files, or at least point to where files are so you can easily access them too. So there's so many different options that you have. I'm just going to throw out there though that you need to have some kind of organization to this, because it's the worst thing to be in a position where you have to submit a grant quickly and you can't find a document you're looking for. It's the worst. Or it's the worst feeling knowing that you're doing something over and over again and you are, but you can't find when you wrote it last, or you could just easily have just pulled from somewhere else, but you don't know where it is. It's such a horrible feeling to know that you're wasting your time and you're not being as efficient as possible. So think about where you want to store your documents and how you want to organize them so you're ready before you even start writing the grant. And again, I like Google Drive to do that. It is easy, at least to me, And the great thing about it is easy to give people access to your file, so multiple people can be working in the same document and you can see changes in real time. The fourth part of the grant writing process that you may need tools for is keeping track of the information you need from other people. Now, this is sort of related to what I talked about in terms of organizing documents, but it's different in that sometimes you need information from other people and you need a way to track that whole piece, because that's what's going to take the most time. And honestly, that can be one of the most frustrating parts of a grant proposal, knowing that you have to rely on other people to get you information and you're waiting for it, or you're not sure where it is. You're not sure when the last time you asked for it, or if they even supplied the information to you. So you need some kind of system to track that, just to make your life easier. So for example, sometimes you may want to put a letter of support together, and that's just a community organization maybe, or like a community stakeholder vouching for your organization. So you can draft a letter for them and just send it to them and ask them to put it on their letterhead and sign it for you. But even doing something that simple can take a long time. And honestly, people don't have really an incentive to do that for you. They want to do it for you, but there's no real incentive to do it in a quick manner. So you're going to have to track when you sent that information, and you need to give them deadlines on when you need to get it back. And then you need to track the deadlines to make sure you got the information in time. And then you need to make sure when you set those deadlines, they give you enough time to be able to compile everything to submit. So writing grants is so much more than just sitting down and writing. There's a process to this thing. And you got to think ahead. You got to anticipate what may be happening, and you got to anticipate the moves of others. Another example may be you need financial statements or financial reports, and you have an accountant doing that for you. Whoo, child, if it's a certain time of the year, then it may take a long time for you to get that information that you need, right? So the other thing about this is you want to track before you start writing, especially if it's a very detailed proposal. You want to track and set a timeline for yourself, so you know when you should get things back, and make sure you're giving enough time for people to get things back to you. And this can be for external people, and it can also be for internal people who are writing pieces of the proposal and are doing different pieces that you need to track that too. So make sure you have a system for tracking your timelines. I gave an example timeline for writing a grant in my grants masterclass. So again, if you need help thinking really strategically about writing grants, that masterclass is a great overview for you. And I also included resources and templates you can use for yourself. But if you're thinking about tools to track deadlines and things like that, y'all, I gotta go to my old faithful, ClickUp. I love ClickUp. I love ClickUp for tracking deadlines, for managing projects. It's also good so people can visually see everybody's piece of a project. So if people are added to your ClickUp workspace, they can see what other people are doing and what other people are responsible for and what the deadlines are. And ClickUp can send reminders, and it can also sync with people's calendars. But ClickUp isn't the only service that does this. Asana does this, Trello, and Notion. The ones that I've mentioned before, they do this. Monday.com is another one as well that I just thought about. But you could also go old school, and you can use Google Calendar or people's calendars. So you can track for yourself when things are due, and you can send calendar invites or send calendar invites to yourself as reminders, and you can track that way. It's whatever makes the most sense for you, whatever you're comfortable with. You just need to make sure you have a system for that in place. And finally, number 5, you need a system for accounting and reporting once you get a grant award. I don't talk a lot about this because I talk more so about how to get grants, but a very big piece about grant writing is what the heck you're going to do with it once you get the money. And it's not just you getting the money and then that's it. There are reporting requirements, there are accounting requirements that are associated with grants that you need to be prepared for, especially, I'm just going to say this again, especially if it's a government grant. And if you are getting a government grant, please read the fine print. I am talking from experience here, y'all. Please read the fine print and know the expectations and know what you're able to do and not able to do with the government money. There are often restrictions on what you can spend and how much you can spend on certain activities. So you just need to know that for yourself before you go too deep into spending money. We get so excited because the money's coming, it's great, but with those government grants, it's more than meets the eye. So you need to be prepared for that. So you should have a system that you're using to track how you spend the money and to track like which accounts you're pulling from to pay for expenses. And when I say accounts, I mean not bank accounts necessarily. I mean like accounts set up in your accounting system. So if you have a bookkeeping system, you have a chart of accounts typically, and there are different accounts associated with different expenses. Depends on how you've organized yourself internally. And so if you're receiving a restricted grant, then you need to be able to show that you're only spending money from that grant on certain activities, and you got to be able to track that. So you need a system to be able to do that. You need a bookkeeping system. I use QuickBooks. It's one of the most popular ones. If you are a 501c3 nonprofit, you can get a discount on QuickBooks Online through TechSoup.org. It's pretty inexpensive compared to the regular cost, but there are other accounting systems out there because some people don't like QuickBooks. So there's Wave and FreshBooks. I've never used them, so just keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that accounting for nonprofits is different than accounting for businesses. Even the names of the financial reports are different. They're very similar, but the names are different. So when you're doing your accounting, you also have to accommodate like the different nonprofit terms and the understandings in the nonprofit accounting space. This is why I always tell people when you're getting started, get an accountant to set up your chart of accounts for you and your bookkeeping system. So even if you can't pay them on a regular basis to do your bookkeeping, you at least understand the structure and how you're supposed to be tracking everything. So I said all that to say you need a tool for bookkeeping and for your accounting, and preferably it should be something online. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not an accountant, but I'm just going to say it makes sense to have something online that other people can access. You also want to have some way to do reporting, because there's financial reporting, which a bookkeeping system or an accounting system can do for you. But there are other types of narrative that you want to write, narrative reports like annual reports or quarterly reports or progress reports, however they're phrased by the funder, that you want to send out. So you want to have some kind of system in place to be collecting information, collecting stories that you can report out to the funders. And especially if you're doing like program evaluation, which is a little bit more advanced than what I'm talking about right now. But just as an example, if you are doing research or tracking outcomes or doing evaluation, it's pretty much understood that you need to do a report, right? But even on a smaller level, you should be reporting out what happens with the grant. So have some kind of word processing software. I know this seems very elementary, but a lot of people don't think about this. So make sure you're using Word or Google Docs. I like Google Docs because, again, people can access it. Multiple people can access it in real time and make changes all together. Have some kind of system or service that you're using to write up your grants. And also, if you want to make them look nice, you can use a system or a service like Canva. And Canva is a graphic design tool that makes graphic designers out of people with the least experience. So it's just an easy tool that you can make really pretty designs with. If you want to design a nice cover or add photos and have like more flexibility and putting photos and all that kind of stuff, you can use Canva. My suggestion though is to write the report in Word or in Docs and then copy and paste. You don't want to be changing the words in Canva because it could be a headache. So finalize your narrative first and then drop it into Canva to design it. Was that helpful, y'all? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you like to hear other information about grants. I don't talk a whole lot about grants, but this month I wanted to focus on it as a part of what I talk about with Boss on a Budget. But if you need other types of help, let me know in the comments what kind of videos you would like to see. Also, if you need help, remember that I have a bunch of resources. There are some that are free and there are some that are at cost. And yes, I do consultations because people ask me that all the time. Yes, I do one-on-one consultations. So I will put that information in the description box. But you can always visit me at bossonabudget.com just to learn more about starting a nonprofit. I have information on that website and also links to my resources there. Thank you so much for watching, y'all, and I will see you in the next video.